We've all wondered at some point, right? How does everything connect? How does reality itself work? I mean, we look up at the stars, we see the vastness, the galaxies, and we ask what's really going on. Is this just a huge, empty, mechanical universe with no meaning? Or is there something more? Something alive? Something that we're all a part of, even if we don't realize it? In this video, we're diving deep into a theory that's shaking up science and spirituality alike, the living universe theory. And trust me, this isn't just some distant, abstract concept. This is something that gets to the heart of what you and I experience every single day. It's a question of whether the universe isn't just a collection of dead matter, but something alive, something conscious. And if that's true, what does it mean for us? What does it mean for you and your place in all of this? I'm not saying that science is wrong. Science has done amazing things. It's given us answers to so many big questions. But here's the thing, science has also left us with even bigger questions. And one of the biggest is consciousness. Why are we conscious? Why do we experience things at all? Like you're watching this video right now, and it's not just lights and sounds hitting your brain, you're aware of it. You're aware of yourself. But why? So let's start with the basics. For centuries, science has followed the idea that the universe is like a machine, one big, complicated machine where everything can be broken down into parts, and everything follows strict laws. It's predictable. It's reliable. But here's the kicker: as we've learned more about the universe, we've started to see cracks in that idea. The way we understand the universe is changing, and it's changing fast. Take quantum mechanics, for example. You've probably heard of it. It's the science of the really, really small atoms, particles, the stuff that makes up everything. But here's where it gets weird at the quantum level. Things don't behave like machines at all. Particles can be in two places at once. They can affect each other instantly, even if they're light years apart. And most importantly, they seem to change just by being observed. Yeah, you heard that right, observed. It's like the universe knows when you're looking at it. That doesn't sound like a machine, does it?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
This is where the living universe theory comes in. It suggests that the universe isn't some dead, mechanical thing. It's alive. It's conscious, or at least, it has the potential for consciousness. Think about it: if consciousness exists in you, and you're part of the universe, then maybe consciousness is a fundamental part of the universe itself. Maybe it's not something that just popped up by accident, but something that's been here all along, evolving, growing, becoming more complex. Now, here's a crazy thought. What if the universe is trying to understand itself through us? What if that's what consciousness is? Like we're the universe's way of looking in the mirror. Sounds wild, right? But think about it: if the universe is alive, if it's conscious, then maybe we are just one of the ways it experiences itself. And that changes everything. It means that you're not just a tiny, insignificant speck in a vast, empty cosmos. You're a part of something much bigger, much more connected than you ever imagined. But let's take it a step further. If the universe is alive, if it's conscious, then how does that affect the way we live? I mean, does it change how we treat each other? Does it change how we treat the planet? What if the Earth itself is part of this living, conscious universe? Suddenly, it's not just a rock we're standing on. It's part of a greater whole. And if that's true, then everything we do has a ripple effect. Every action, every thought, it's all connected. I know this is a lot to take in, but here's the thing, this isn't just some abstract theory. There's real science behind it. Just look at the work being done in fields like cosmology and neuroscience. Scientists are starting to realize that consciousness might not be something that just happens inside our brains. It might be woven into the very fabric of reality itself. And if that's true, then we need to rethink everything we thought we knew about life and the universe. But here's the big question, what does it mean for you right now? If the universe is alive, if it's conscious, how should you live your life? Should you be more mindful of your thoughts, your actions? Should you try to tap into this greater consciousness? Or is that just too far out there? Maybe it's not as far out as we think. Ancient cultures have been talking about this kind of thing for thousands of years. They believed that everything was connected, that the universe was alive in some way. They didn't have the science to back it up, but maybe they were onto something. Maybe they knew something that we're only just now rediscovering. But here's the challenge, can we combine what they knew with what we know today? Can we merge science and spirituality in a way that makes sense? Because let's be honest, most of us like things to make sense. We like logic. We like reason. But what if the universe is both logical and mystical at the same time? What if it's not one or the other? Okay, so now you're probably wondering, where does that leave us? If the universe is alive, if it's conscious, then what's its purpose? Does it even have one? And if it does, what's our purpose in all of this? So we've talked about the idea that the universe might be alive, that consciousness might be a fundamental part of reality. But now, let's take a deeper dive. If the universe is alive, then it's not just sitting there, static and unchanging. It's evolving. It's growing. And that means we are evolving too. But here's the catch, our evolution isn't just physical. It's mental. It's mental. It's spiritual. Let's think about evolution for a second. We all know about Darwin's theory, right? Survival of the fittest. The idea that species evolve over time to adapt to their environment. But what if evolution isn't just about adapting to the physical world? What if it's also about adapting to the mental and spiritual world? What if the universe is evolving to become more conscious, more aware? And if that's true, then what's our role in this evolution? You see, if the universe is alive, if it's conscious, then maybe consciousness isn't just something that happens on a small scale, like in our brains. Maybe it's something that happens on a cosmic scale. Maybe the universe itself is becoming more conscious over time, and we're just one part of that process. But here's the twist, if the universe is evolving, if it's becoming more conscious, then maybe it's not just happening by chance. Maybe there's a purpose to all of this. Maybe the universe wants to become more conscious. Maybe that's what it's been doing all along. And if that's true, then our consciousness, your consciousness, isn't just a random fluke. It's part of a grand cosmic plan. But wait, let's slow down for a second. If the universe has a purpose, if it's evolving to become more conscious, then that raises a huge question. What is consciousness really? What does it mean to be conscious? Is it just being aware of your surroundings? Or is it something deeper, something more profound? Think about it. When you're conscious, you're not just aware of the world around you. You're aware of yourself. You can reflect on your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. You can make choices. And that's where things get really interesting. Because if the universe is conscious, then maybe it can make choices too. Maybe it's not just a passive observer. Maybe it's an active participant in its own evolution. And that brings us to the next big question. If the universe is alive, if it's conscious, then what's it evolving toward? What's the end goal? Is there an end goal? Or is the universe just constantly evolving, constantly becoming more conscious, with no end in sight? But here's the thing, even if we don't know the answer to that question, even if we don't know what the universe's ultimate purpose is, we still have to ask ourselves, what's our role in this evolution? Are we just along for the ride? Or do we have a responsibility, a duty, to help the universe evolve? And if we do, then how do we do that? Maybe the answer is simple: by becoming more conscious ourselves, by expanding our awareness, by exploring the depths of our own minds, by connecting with the world around us in a deeper, more meaningful way. Because if the universe is evolving to become more conscious, then maybe the best way we can contribute to that evolution is by evolving our own consciousness. So, now we're left with a big question: how do we do that? How do we evolve our consciousness? So we're at this point where we've started asking some big questions. If the universe is alive, if it's conscious, if it's evolving, what's our role in that evolution? And how do we expand our own consciousness to match that of the universe? Because let's face it, if we're part of something much bigger, if the universe is trying to understand itself through us, we can't just sit back and ignore that. We have to engage with it. We have to wake up to what's really going on. Let's break it down. Expanding consciousness, what does that even mean? I'm not talking about just learning more facts or gaining more knowledge. That's important, sure. But what I'm really talking about is something deeper. It's about becoming more aware not just of the world around you, but of the world within you. It's about understanding that your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, they're all connected to something much bigger. And once you start to see that, once you start to feel that, everything changes. Think about it like this: most of us go through life on autopilot. We wake up, we go to work, we come home, we watch TV, we go to bed, and we do it all over again the next day. And we barely stop to think about why we do the things we do. We react to life instead of living it. But what if expanding consciousness means stepping off that autopilot? What if it means becoming more present, more aware of who we are and how we fit into the bigger picture? There's this idea that our thoughts shape our reality. You've probably heard it before, right? But here's the thing, it's not just some motivational quote you see on Instagram. It's real. Science is starting to show us that our minds are more powerful than we ever imagined. When we focus our attention on something, we're not just passively observing it, we're actively influencing it. And that's not just some spiritual mumbo-jumbo. Quantum physics is starting to back this up. The act of observation, the act of attention, changes the outcome of events at the smallest levels of reality. So if we want to expand our consciousness, if we want to play our part in the evolution of the universe, we have to start paying attention. We have to start choosing what we focus on, what we give our energy to. Because here's the truth: what you focus on grows. If you focus on fear, on anger, on negativity, then that's what your reality becomes. But if you focus on love, on connection, on growth, then that's what grows in your life. And maybe, just maybe, that's how the universe itself evolves. Through our choices, through our awareness. But here's the big challenge: it's not always easy. Expanding consciousness isn't a one-time thing. It's a process. It's something we have to work at every single day. And it's not always fun. Sometimes it means facing parts of ourselves that we'd rather ignore. It means looking at our fears, our insecurities, our pain, and dealing with them head on. Because here's the thing, if the universe is alive, if it's evolving, then it's not afraid to confront the darkness. And neither should we. But why should we even bother? I mean, life's hard enough as it is, right? Why should we go looking for more challenges? Well, here's why: because that's where growth happens. That's where evolution happens. Think about it. When do you grow the most? When you're comfortable and everything's easy? Or when you're pushed to your limits, when you're forced to adapt, to change, to become something more? The universe is constantly pushing itself to evolve, to become more conscious, and we're part of that process. If we want to evolve with it, we have to embrace the challenges. We have to be willing to grow. And here's where things get really interesting. If the universe is alive, if it's conscious, then maybe it's not just waiting for us to evolve. Maybe it's helping us evolve. Maybe the challenges we face, the difficulties we encounter, are all part of the universe's way of pushing us toward greater consciousness. Think about the hardest moments in your life, the times when you felt like you couldn't go on. Didn't those moments change you? Didn't they make you stronger, wiser, more aware? Maybe that's the universe's way of guiding us, of helping us evolve. But here's the twist: if the universe is guiding us, if it's helping us evolve, then that means we're not in this alone. We're not just isolated, separate beings floating around in a meaningless cosmos. We're connected to each other, to the earth, to the stars. And if we're connected, if we're all part of this living, evolving universe, then it's not just about our personal growth. It's about collective growth. It's about evolving together. And that raises a huge question: how do we evolve together? How do we expand consciousness not just on an individual level, but on a global scale? How do we help the world wake up to the fact that we're all part of something bigger, something alive, something alive? Maybe it starts with simple things, with kindness, with compassion, with empathy. When we start to see that other people are just as much a part of the living universe as we are, it changes how we treat them. It changes how we treat ourselves. It changes how we treat the planet. And maybe that's what the universe wants from us. Maybe that's how we help it evolve, by evolving ourselves, by becoming more conscious of our actions, our thoughts, our connections. But here's the thing: it's not just about being nice or thinking happy thoughts. Expanding consciousness is about becoming aware, truly aware. It's about understanding that every action has a consequence, that every thought sends ripples through the universe. It's about realizing that you're not just a passive observer in this cosmic play, you're an active participant. And what you do, what you think, what you feel, it matters. So, where do we go from here? How do we take this theory of a living, conscious universe and apply it to our lives? How do we live in a way that honors our connection to the universe, that helps it evolve, that helps it evolve, that helps us evolve? Maybe the answer is simpler than we think. Maybe it's about being present, truly present, in every moment, with every person we meet, with every decision we make. Maybe it's about listening not just to the noise of the world, but to the quiet voice within us, the voice that knows we're connected, the voice that knows we're part of something bigger, the voice that knows we're here for a reason. So I'm asking you, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you go back to living on autopilot, ignoring the connection, ignoring the connection, ignoring the consciousness? Or will you choose to expand your awareness, to play your part in the evolution of the universe. Because here's the truth, whether you realize it or not, you're already part of the process. The universe is evolving. Consciousness is expanding. And you're right in the middle of it. Now, it's up to you. Will you wake up to it? Will you embrace it? Will you help the universe evolve by evolving yourself? Because here's the thing, the universe is alive. It's conscious, and so are you. And that changes everything.